possible for you to contrast the Buddhist conception of Dharma vis-a-vis what's being said in Dharma?
Well, it's a very good point that you make. At the end of my book, I have a 5-page essay called Dharma, the Story of a Word. And here you find that actually Dharma appears in the Rig Veda, 1500 BC, 64 times. But mostly the meaning of Dharma in the Rig Veda is to observe the Vedic rituals. The person who is dharmic is the one who observes the Vedic rituals, sacrifices. And then it evolves. It evolves. And the meaning, it gets influenced by, as I was telling you, by Buddhism, by Jainism, by the yogic sects that come about after the Upanishads, just in the early Upanishads, later Upanishad time. And then in the Dharma Shastras, it gets a social virtue. Dharma of the Kshatriya, Dharma of the Brahmin, of the wife, of the king. And fast forward to 19th century Bengal, when the missionaries are saying to the peasants of Bengal that ours is the only, Jesus Christ is the only true Dharma. So for the first time, the meaning of Dharma begins to mean religion. And Hindus retaliate by saying ours is Sanatan Dharma. It's a duty, eternal Dharma. Anyway, so you see, it's an evolving word. It's an evolving word, and there's wonderful things. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's conception includes the Enlightenment meaning, the whole European. He takes the ideas from Mill and Comte and other philosophers.
Gurcharan, we have a lot of young people here who are, in their 20s, just starting careers. I spoke to someone who wants to be in consulting, and somebody wants to be a rocket scientist right there. Now, you were 50 when you said, what am I doing this for? Should they just give it up right now and just go and study the Vedas, or?
They're not 50. If you're 50,
I am.
maybe you should think.
I should think of a career change. But
well, it's a classical Indian idea of the stages of life too. The Vanaprastha, the third stage life. And my mother actually was quite delighted that I took early retirement. And she says, you're going to have a rich Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha she didn't mean though. Vanaprastha literally means going to the forest. But of course I went to Chicago. That's where the forest was, in the Regenstein Library.
So I have a question. You talk about moral analysis. Now, is the goal of moral analysis to reach a conclusion, or is it just moral analysis by itself? And the reason I ask that is, in the story you mentioned Yudhishthira's train of thought. You mentioned his uncle's, Draupadi's uncle's train of thought. Now they're both right. They both actually reach their conclusions through different ways. But so it creates a quandary because you can kind of go both ways.
Well, you're right. And Mahabharata is showing their moral dilemmas at every turn. There's a moment in the epic when there is this fellow Kaushik. He's standing at a crossroads, and these robbers go by. This man runs in front of him, and he goes that way. And behind him, chasing him, are these dacoits with knives. And they're going to kill him, because he has witnessed their crime. And Kaushik knows that. But Kaushik is an honest man. So, when they come and ask him, where did he go? He tells them where he went, and they go and kill him. And then Kaushik lands up in hell. And he says, I was a good man. I was honest all my life. And they tell him, you idiot, your first duty was to save this man. It's like my granddaughter, who told her mother, this is a 7-year-old girl, telling her mother, "Mummy, you just told a lie." The mother had said on the phone, "Look, I can't come for dinner to your house because I'm feeling sick." "Mother, you're not feeling sick at all." And I had to explain to her that, look, your mother did a very dharmic deed because she didn't want to tell her that, look, you are a bore, all your friends are bores, and I don't want to get bored. Instead, and there's a point in the Mahabharata where the Mahabharata suggests that our civilization is built on white lies. So there isn't, I mean, this is not, you'll probably want your money back.
I can follow up. So it creates a problem where someone can come to a decision and then morally kind of reverse logic, analyze their way to support that decision.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I mean, but I don't think Mahabharata is saying anything goes.
okay.
And it's very clear that Duryodhan is on the, Duryodhan believes that basically all this morality stuff of Yudhishthira is weakness. The weak have created dharma in order to bring down the strong. And so, might is right. That is the only morality.
Why don't we have some questions from women in the room? It's only the men asking questions.
Do you have any insight into like the symbolism behind the mythology of the Mahabharata? Like the battlefield, the Kurukshetra being our own internal battlefield, and such that religious texts and all are taken too literally these days, even the jihad being our own internal battle. Arjuna being at the point of following his dharma, he encounters these eternal questions, eternal human conditions of like fear and doubt of following your dharma. Like you might have encountered that when you switched from business to writing. Like, so I mean, just some insight into.
Well, I mean, what is amazing about this epic, why it's lasted 2,000 years, and why it's alive today, is precisely because you can read it at many levels. There's a lot of symbolism. And if you are a Vaishnava believer in Krishna, you have no problem with what Krishna is doing. It's all Krishna's Leela, Krishna Leela. It's the great victory over evil. And my grandmother used to read it like that. And so you can read it in many ways. In fact, my grandmother said that Duryodhan's problem is that he doesn't know that Krishna is God. That's his. That his inability to accept that is his downfall.
Let me take one more question and then we'll wrap it up.
Your title, Difficulty of Being Good. Do you think central bankers around the world face this dilemma every day? They are forced to do so many bailouts, devalue their currencies, day in, day out. What is the moral ground on that?
Well, now you've raised a very complex question. But surely, I mean, central bankers, they're grappling with this problem right now as to what is the amount of regulation that they can bring in without killing the entrepreneurial energies of people like Raj.
Well, on that great statement, thank you very much, Gurcharan, for your wisdom and your wise words and your guidance for all of us. We appreciate you coming and thank you very much. Let's go around.